Harold D.
by hearing soon.
Evening, Tony.
Hello?
Harold G.
Hello?
Did.
Hello, Tony.
Oh, that's Tony.
Hello, how are
Harold did.
you?
I did
Good,
see
thanks.
Tony earlier today in the great debate.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It was an interesting experience.
So who's doing what so I can
Big one.
get everyone in Zoom or not?
You don't need me. I'll hide out in the peanut gallery, Terry.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what B1 or B2 you should be getting to hear everyone.
No, I don't know. I think it's maybe something that we worry about, not when you're about to stream.
That's what I'm thinking. Because I know if I do put B1 and B2 on, in one of them you can hear audio in Discord, if we're in Discord, but I don't usually have that B1 and B2 on.
The last thing you want to do is start stuffing around with your
No, I've got presets,
sound.
so I can just load the preset if I ever change it. But I know what I'm changing in for the outs and the auxiliaries.
Yeah, I was just going to say the last thing you want to do is stuff it up now right before you start streaming.
No, I won't do that. What's Scott got for us tonight on his avatar? Oh, he's got the aeroplane. See, I didn't say it was
That
what
Mark
sort of
8
airplane.
Spitfire.
The Spitfire, yeah. I called it a Mustang and he went off at me.
Yeah, of course you did. Because it's not a bloody
Surprised Sally
Mustang.
didn't.
I would have done had I heard it, but I couldn't because well, I did hear it, but I wasn't because I was
Oh, here we go.
To have gas pressure, you must have a container.
Look,
No.
look,
No,
we haven't even started yet, and we're getting a conversation. We're starting now.
Okay.
If that makes any
I
difference.
realise that will be the subject of my next video. Is
Okay.
why we don't need a container. I've actually already explained it multiple times, but apparently, if Desert File couldn't get the point across, what chance do I stand?
Well, let's stick to something a little bit more simpler with Paul's logic question. I'll read it. I'll
What's
read the
Paul's logic
entirety of
question?
it from Discord. It might be better.
Sure.
Where is it? I'll just have to scroll back up. Okay. A boat with a lead block on it is sitting in a pool. On the side of the boat is a red line right at the water level. On the side of the pool is a blue line right at the water level. The lead block is then tossed over the side of the boat, but still connected to the boat by a string. Will the red line now be above or below or the same as the new water level? Will the blue line now be above, below or the same as the new water level?
I don't think that's a logic question. I think it's a physics question. And my suggestion would be, my suggestion is that the red line doesn't change in position provided that the lead weight is not in contact with the bottom of the pool, but that the blue line will move.
I reckon none of the lines or water lines will move.
I reckon it will, because lead's denser than water. So the submerged lead weight displaces way less water than a floating lead weight.
But wouldn't the weight of the lead in the boat be displacing so much water because of its weight?
That that was my initial thought as well, but then I realised, as Tony just said, the lead is a lot denser, so that when it's in the boat, you have to look at the density of the entire boat, and then you have to look at the density of the boat.
So is it the
plus
case
the
that the
weight
red
of the
line,
lead.
the red line's on the ship, right, and the blue line's on the pool?
Yes.
Doesn't that mean that the blue line goes up? So is the lead weight floating in the pool? It's not in contact with the bottom of the pool.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So in effect, the amount of water displaced to keep the boat afloat has not changed, because the weight of the boat is the same as it was before the exercise started. So the red line can't move. Would be my suggestion. Whereas the blue line has to go up, because the lead weight being underwater displaces more water now in proportion to the volume of the lead block. This is a really confusing one. Anyway, that's my guess.
It is. It is confusing.
I thought
That's
it'd
my
be
guess.
I thought it would go the other way, because it's displacing. It's got to displace the volume, hasn't it? It displaces the volume, not the. It's not. It's the weight is the trick. It's how much volume it displaces.
It's the volume of the lead block that's the difference between the two configurations.
Yeah.
Which effectively means that the volume of the pool has changed, and it's been increased by the volume of the lead block, so the water goes up.
Yeah.
That would be So the water goes above the blue line, and the red line stays at water level.
But now I'm going to throw a spanner in the works for you, Tony, because
Okay.
when you throw the lead weight over, will the lead weight weigh more or less when it's in the water?
Okay, so weight it's going to weigh the same. All right, it's just mass times the force of gravity. So
But
its
there is
mass
a
hasn't changed. The gravity hasn't. Well, you asked what it weighed. You didn't ask. How are you weighing it? How are you weighing this?
Yeah,
What's that?
I need a drawing.
How are you weighing it?
Oh, you could weigh it with a spring balance.
Yeah, well, a spring balance, it would weigh less on a spring balance because you've got the buoyancy of the water.
Mm-hmm. Someone's thinking, yep.
But of course,
yes.
But of course, the water is already applying buoyant force to the mass of the lead while it's part of the boat.
So if you're doing it, what you're asking is the downward force exerted by the lead weight changed by it being in water? Is the spring itself in the water or not?
Yeah, but that's not
And
part of the setup.
How deep is it beneath the water? Because buoyant force relies on the pressure differential between the bottom of the object to the top of the object times the lateral surface area of the object. Okay. You can tend this to zero by either making the object very, very thin, in which case there's very little pressure differential between the two, or you can make it, if you make it very, very thin in the other direction, then there's very little area over pressure differential can work. Now, if your answer is dependent on the geometry of the lead object, then you haven't given us enough information to answer the question.
No, not really.
That's
going to have very little. That's going to have very little effect.
Okay.
But you would agree that the lead weight weighs less under the water because of the buoyant force, right?
I'm not completely sure that I agree with that, in the sense that
well, it's displacing an amount of water, right? And it'll weigh less by an amount that's equal to the mass of that displaced water. I mean, that's what the buoyant force is, isn't it? Okay.
To some extent, yeah.
So you've got to subtract the buoyant force from the lead mass's weight.
But that really, yeah, I mean that's a different question, right? So the buoyant forces generally apply to something that is falling unsupported. So it's unconstrained. Well, I'll agree. Yeah, if you okay.
Yep, but nothing's changed about the boat. There's no mass change or anything with the boat, is there?
No, there's no.
Okay.
No.
So is there more or less force being put down on the boat by the lead weight when it's in the water?
Well, you would argue that there's less from the argument that you just said. But are you suggesting that the buoyant force is equal to the change in the... I'm not sure I agree with where you're going here. You're going to argue that there's no change in either. Is that what you're arguing?
No, that's not what I'm arguing at all. All I'm trying to do is point out that when you throw the lead weight over into the water, it displaces a volume of water, all right, giving it a buoyant force acting on it. admittedly, the buoyant force is not enough to make the lead weight float, but it will reduce its weight in the water. Okay, and so having less weight in the water, it will put less force down on the boat through the tension in the rope. Okay,
so you're arguing that the red line will move with regard to the water level.
Yeah, so the lead weight's not putting as much force downwards on the boat when it's in the water. So my argument is that the boat will rise in the water, so the red line will go up in the water. Okay.
I think you're misusing the term weight.
No.
Yes. Buoyancy is not a component of weight.
I know, but what I'm talking about is the net downwards force exerted on the...
that's different. That's different from weight, right?
Oh, you could argue that.
You can argue that there's a change in the net downward force, but that's not the weight has a particular definition, and buoyancy forces are generally not wrapped into weight, which is not that's a purely semantic argument. But you could argue, yes, okay, I'll accept the validity of the argument there that the downward pressure exerted by the lead weight is reduced by buoyancy forces if it's not in contact with the bottom of the pool.
And so the boat will rise a little bit in the water, won't it? It won't displace quite as much water.
Yes, it'll displace fractionally less water. Yep.
Cool. Okay, so if it displaces fractionally less water, okay, now think about the blue line on the edge of the pool.
I refuse to pursue this thought experiment any further. Do the experiment. Show me the results. What you are suggesting is that no amount of
I can answer that one. That's
is going to get us to a qualitative answer. You're going to have to either do the mathematics rigorously and show me how it all balances out, or you're going to have to do the experiment. But at this point, you've lost the capacity to claim that this is in any sense a logic problem. This is either a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem of calculation or experimentation. Either show me the calculations or do the experiment.
Well, you can do the calculations via thought experiment in your head, Tony. They're not that hard, and you can use a modicum of logic to reason it out too. Okay, right. Because when you put the lead weight in the water, you agree that the boat's going to rise by a little bit. Okay, because less weight is being put on the boat by the lead block. How much less weight?
It's the difference between the weight of the lead block out of the water and the difference in the downward force applied by, which is the amount of buoyant force applied to the. So it's less by the amount of buoyant force that is being applied to the lead weight.
And the amount of buoyant force is equal to the mass. Is related to the mass of the water displaced by the lead weight when it's thrown in, isn't it? Okay.
No.
So, yes.
No, absolutely not. It's the integral of the pressure. It's the integral of the pressure across the surface area of the lead weight, which is to say that the buoyant force applied depends critically on the geometry of the lead weight.
Archimedes' principle. Basically,
Archimedes' principle does not take into account pressure gradients within the water because it assumes that the water has a uniform pressure gradient, and you cannot make such an assumption in this particular case. So no, I'm not going to accept that argument. The buoyant force applied to the lead weight depends on the geometry of the lead weight, and the depth and the length of the rope to which it is attached, which determines the pressure. Though you could argue that pressure gradients are linear. Is there any salt in this water? What are the salt and temperature gradients of the water?
Did you use the PPM meter to check the water?
Now you're getting more specific. There's not such specifics in the question.
No.
Right.
Okay. So
but I would argue that the amount of water displaced by the lead weight when you throw it over is equal to the change in the amount of water displaced by the boat. Okay, so the boat will displace a little bit less water because it's got not as much force pulling down by the lead weight.
You can make that argument, but it is incorrect. The amount of the change in the buoyancy of the boat depends on the amount of buoyant force applied to the lead weight while it's in the water. I have just argued, and I think persuasively, that depends on the geometry of the geometry and orientation of the lead weight. Now, for different geometries, there's going to be a different amount of buoyant force applied, so it's not. But you can have different geometries with the same volume, right?
Well, I think it was a lead ball, so a ball is a ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't described as a lead ball. It was described as a lead weight.
Block. A lead block.
Okay. All right. But again, we're getting into you would need to do the calculations of the square area of the block, or the surface area at the bottom of the block, and the point of affixment for the rope, because if the rope is applied at one of the corners of the block as opposed to one of the centers of the faces, this is also going to change the amount of buoyant force applied to the. If you want to go down here, again, it's calculations or experiment. We've passed the limit where this is a thought experiment. I'm going to stick to my guns here.
All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll let people think about it. All right. We'll get people's opinion from the chat, and maybe we should set up a little experiment to test this. Hey.
Yeah. I'm
sounds like a
happy
good idea.
I reckon it's a very, very very, very interesting sequence of questions that raises, that sort of strains understanding. Really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But I think once you get down into this sort of level of detail, it requires explicit experimentation or calculation.
Yeah. Who's got the squeaky chair?
I don't know, not me.
I have.
We'll leave this one with you, Tony.
I must have caused Tony some stress because he's rocking in his chair.
Yeah. So the volume of the steel ball and the volume of the ping pong ball are the same?
Yeah, the picture denotes what's going on. So which way would the scale tip? The steel ball side or the ping pong ball side? Or will it stay balanced?
So the steel ball has no effect on the weight of the... it's going to be heavier on the ping pong ball side of the...
It's going to be heavier on the ping ball side, is it? Oh, I can say you're wrong.
Okay, why?
Think of buoyancy. That's the only clue I can give
ping
you.
Pong, the plastic shell of the ping pong ball has non-zero mass, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
The force of the ping pong ball's weight is contributing the left-hand side. The steel ball is in no way contributing to the force applied on the right-hand side, so we can ignore the steel ball. So it's the volume of the water plus the weight of the mooring, and the ping pong ball is the additional weight in the left-hand beaker.
Are you ignoring the buoyant force?
I said the
steel
word
ball?
buoyancy.
But that doesn't change the mass of water in the beaker.
No, it doesn't. But it still does apply a force. It still does apply a force.
So we're talking about a scale, right? So there's one mass on one side and one mass on the other side. Okay,
sure, but
there's
the scale doesn't measure mass. It compares forces, Tony.
Okay, but the downward force on the but the steel ball is suspended, right?
Yep.
The reaction, so the entire weight of the steel ball is on that string. Okay, I don't see that the steel ball can be creating a force on the right-hand side.
Yeah, well, the weight, it's not the weight of the steel ball that contributes to the buoyant force, it's something else.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're going to have to explain it to me, because obviously I'm not getting it.
Oh, I know Paul can explain
There is there is a buoyant force there. You're used to thinking of buoyant forces in terms of the buoyant force applied to the object that's immersed in the water, right? But you can actually see it the other way around. Here, we're keeping the object immersed in the water at a fixed location, but the environment around it is free to move, okay?
Yes.
And so that will actually move downwards, all right? Which is the same.
Sorry, explain that again. Explain that again.
It's the same relatively as like when you move, like if you move past a fixed object, you can also look at it as you being fixed and that object moving past you. It depends which point of view you look at it here. Okay, so here there is a buoyant force there on that steel ball. Okay, but that ball is fixed, right? But the environment around that steel ball is free to move. It's free to move. It's not fixed in location. Okay, and so what's going to happen there is that the buoyant force is going to move that that environment downwards.
So you're claiming that yeah, I'm less than enthusiastic about this. You're claiming that the reduction in weight of the ball of the steel ball is sufficient to make that one heavier.
Because the buoyant force of the steel ball suspended in the liquid that can.
I think that you'd have to show me the calculation on that.
Well, I can do.
Because what you're talking about is the difference in pressure between the bottom of the ball and the top of the ball. Right? How big is this ball? How much change in pressure is there?
I don't think I've got those actual measurements.
And you're claiming that the pressure gradient inside that beaker is sufficient for the magnitude of that pressure differential to be larger than the mass of the ping pong ball and the string on the other side. I'm not sure that I necessarily believe you. I'd need to see that calculation.
Well, would you like a calculation or a video demonstrating it?
I can see it. If you've got a video demonstrating it, then that'll be fine. I'm not going to claim that your video was was fabricated by NASA.
The key to it, Tony, is that the ping pong ball has a buoyant force applied to it because it's immersed in the water, right? Okay.
Yes.
And likewise again, so we don't need to go down the track of calculating integrals and stuff like that. We can just use Archimedes' principle here. Okay. And so it's going to create a tension in that string, but that string is actually attached to the beaker. Okay. And so it's not going to cause a net force on that beaker. Okay. But on the other side, the right hand side, that lead or steel ball is not attached to the beaker in any way. Okay, and so the buoyant force created by that lead steel ball being immersed in the water is free to act on that beaker.
But by the same token, what you're suggesting is that a gas container that has a steel ball in it that is supported outside is heavier than a gas container that just has a ping pong ball and a piece of string in it.
Yeah.
So the very presence of the steel ball inside the gas container will create enough buoyant force that even though the steel ball is completely supported by an external fixture, it's exerting more downward force.
Yep.
Again, I'd want to see the calculations or a visual demonstration, because there's no intuitive reason for what you say to be correct. It could be the case. It may well.
I think there is, but you might disagree.
Because you will agree that the weight of the ping pong ball and the weight of the string tethering the ping pong ball does apply on the left-hand side.
Sure.
Okay. So what you're saying is that the buoyant force that a ball experiences at basically 1 atmosphere pressure is sufficient to weigh more than the ping pong ball and the piece of string. Now, the piece of ball and the string have non-zero. Okay. Excellent.
So they both experience the same upward buoyant force, which is equal to the weight of the water they displace. That's just Archimedes' principle. But by Newton's third law, that means there must be equal and opposite forces down on the water in both beakers. So you would think that both beakers would get heavier by this same amount. Now for the hanging ball, the beaker does get heavier by this amount because the buoyant force is now supporting some of the weight that used to be supported by this tension in the string. But it's now...
I can't really play much more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, that's a very interesting result.
You've got more than a Flurfer's got, because I throw this into Gem Pandas now and again, and it gets all sorts of arguments going, this one. Yeah, I thought they'd stay the same at first, but then the buoyant force has to go somewhere. And obviously it puts the weight of the beaker on the right hand side down, because the buoyant force is pushes it down into the volume of the water.
Yeah, well, as I say, that doesn't necessarily accord with my I don't have an intuition that tells me that that's what would happen. I would have to rely on a calculation, or some form of audio visual demonstration. If only you had some sort of evidence, Terry and Paul.
Apart from the experiment being done.
Apart from the experiment being done, but God alone knows that isn't sufficient.
I thought the model was supposed to represent what happens in reality, not reality represent what happens in the model.
See, they've got it ass backwards. It's but no, that's just a really interesting just a really interesting sequence of results. I've never and I have to say these are concepts I've never really encountered in this particular example, in this particular context before.
Yeah, that's the whole point of these sort of things, to get people thinking.
Yeah, it gets you thinking, all right.
Well, I resent it.
See, not everything can be explained by just putting 1 + 1 on a piece of paper.
Yeah, just a really weird. It is a really weird result.
I have another one for someone to do a calculation on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you've got a freshwater lake and there's some ice floating, there's a slab of ice floating on that freshwater lake, how big would that slab of ice have to be for a 45-kilogram woman to be standing on it and just not getting her feet wet?
How big would it have to be?
Yeah.
45 kilos?
So
Okay,
so
half a cubic
you
meter.
would have to have,
half a cubic meter size of block of ice.
that. You are we going to accept the 90% rule?
Was I close, Paul?
You have to find out.
Huh?
I don't know. I haven't calculated it yet myself. So
Well, I'd have suggested that Terry got the answer bang on, straight out of the gate, because so 90% of the for any body of water, if we use the 90% rule, 90% of the ice is submerged under the and I think that's right. I think that actually the density of ice is 0.891 or something like that. Or no, 0.897, something along those lines. But now I'm wondering if that's fresh water or seawater.
I've never heard of it before. That was just my educated guess of volume for mass for water to ice.
Well, it's often that so ice is about 0.92 grams per cubic centimeter. It depends a little bit because you can get air inclusions and that sort of thing. There's a but so under that, for that, what you want is the woman to weigh about 0.08 as much as the ice. So you want the ice to weigh 45 kilos versus divided by 0.08. Right?
yeah, I'll have to think about that. I've got to. I'll do the solution and publish it next stream. Okay.
Wait a minute, I've got an equation here for Tony, if this is the right one. I might have to grab... Why don't I grab that image again, because I've got another... where'd it go? Back to pictures. Yep, that one. Yep, I want that. Alright. So if I share that, that one might be better. So that's giving you all the You should be able to understand it, somebody. You got all that. And then, if I give you that, does that help?
Yes, it will. So let me take you down to the bottom sentence there. It will tip to the right if the buoyancy of the steel ball is more than the weight of the ping pong ball, which is what I said. And I was surprised that the buoyancy of the steel ball is more than the weight of the ping pong ball. So it's all conditional on the buoyancy force you discussed being larger than the weight of the floating ball. Yeah.
So that's the giving it that, and then you got that to go by.
Terry, look at the pictures Peter dropped in Discord.
Yeah. I'll go back out of there. I'll go back into there. Well, we'll get onto the Industrial Revolution topic. Peter wants me to go into Discord, does he? Where did he drop him?
That's what I was just trying. Stream homework.
Oh, stream homework. How do I... Oh, that's right, yeah. How do I share that as a... I forget now. Get rid of them. I think I can open them individually. That one. I'll have to open all. Okay, I'll open them all up. That one. That one. And that one. Okay, so I've got 4 images here. I'll have to share. Go back to that. Alright, now Peter did something here with some water. Well, he's got a set of scales. So it says 0. He zeroed them out there. He's weighed a nut. So the nut weighs, I don't know if the decimal point's in the right place, but that might be grams, 287. Then he's weighed the water, which is 120, or it's 1289. And then he's put the nut in the water. I think he's suspending the nut in the water, I think he is. And it weighs more. Now, now the overall weight's more. There we go. That's just that was. I forgot Peter did that. There we go. Yeah, the buoyant force of the object's mass displaces the liquid, I suppose you could say. So that force has to go somewhere.
So
it increases the mass of the weight of the liquid.
So the way, I just want to make a point here, the weight of the object you place into the liquid is immaterial, right? Because it doesn't change the buoyant force.
That's right.
The buoyant force is just it's the geometry of the object, because the buoyant force is simply the integral of the pressure applied by the water over the surface area of the object. That's the buoyant force that is being provided. So the weight of the object is immaterial. It's the mass of the object is immaterial. It's the geometry of the object that's the critical factor in this. Yeah. So I wonder if so my question would be, I actually think that if you got the same object and you turned it into a really thin wire and put it in vertically, you wouldn't get the same result.
I think you would.
I don't think you would, because it depends on the horizontal surface area. So as you reduce that horizontal surface area to 0 by making it taller and taller and thinner, eventually you're going to get to the point where it's not providing enough force to weigh more than the ping pong ball.
But aren't buoyant forces acting in all different
Yeah.
directions once the object is submerged in the water?
Because if you're going to make that horizontal surface area smaller, you're going to have to make the object taller, and that increases the pressure differential from the top to the bottom.
That may be so, but if they're both applied over very small, areas, it doesn't really matter. The pressure gradient inside water isn't that high. Anyway, it'd be an interesting variation on the experiment to see. But again, you could probably do the same thing just through raw calculation.
There we go. Do I do a video first, or do I do my text stuff first? Where are we? Where do I put that? Topic. There we go. Some reading. How's it gonna look out there for the peanuts? Looks too big. Nice. Oh. Still cuts off a word, doesn't it? Yeah, cuts off a little bit.
You wanted to go the other way.
What, zoom?
You wanted to. Yeah.
That's zooming
Okay.
in. I mean out.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Because that's going the other way.
Yeah. That's fine. You got it right.
If I go that far, it gives us the sidebar, which I don't like to get.
Tony, you might want to have a look at the post that Clive Wells has just put in the side chat.
Sure. Is he telling me on
the one regarding force density?
Can they read that end word there, where I've got the right at the end?
No, you're just clipping the very end of the last letter.
That says "and" there.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at both sides, and yeah, they're just losing ever so tiny little bit on the end.
No. Yeah, it's getting, you're losing that word. Bugger. If I go to that, that's what happens. Then I can't read it. And I can barely read it on my end.
Well, would you like me to read it? Because I can read it quite comfortably.
You got it full screen, have you? Yeah, I've only got it as a quarter screen,
yeah,
so I can't read
I
it
don't even
well.
need it. I haven't got it that huge. But
okay. As long as the peanuts can see what's going on.
I'm pretty sure the peanuts will be able to read. It's readable on the peanut side without even going full screen on a 1080p.
Don't forget, Alan. Sometimes peanuts are only on that mobile phone thing, and they have to.
Oh yeah, they don't use computers with decently sized screens.
Oh, well, I can't get anything right tonight.
Tony, you're allowed to be wrong.
Yeah, perhaps not as consistently as I turn out to be.
When you're ready, you can read this.
Okay then. The History of Steam Trains and Railways by Bob Barton. An invention that changed the world was 200 years old in 2004. Britain celebrated the bicentenary of the steam railway locomotive with a year-long events programme, but it was not an engineering giant such as James Watt or George Stephenson that was fated. The man who first put steam engines on rails was a tall, strong Cornishman, described by his schoolmaster as obstinate and inattentive. Richard Trevethick, 1771 to 1833, who learnt his craft in Cornish tin mines, built his Pendarren tram road engine for a line in South Wales, whose primitive wagons were pulled slowly and laboriously by horses. On February 21st, 1804, Trevithick's pioneering engine hauled 10 tons of iron and 70 men nearly 10 miles from Pendarren at a speed of 5 miles per hour, winning the railway's owner a 500 guinea bet into the bargain. Scroll down, please.
And that's the picture of his son. I do have a better image of that, so.
He was 20 years ahead of his time. Stephenson's rocket was not even on the drawing board, but Trevithick's engines were seen as little more than a novelty. He went on to engineer at mines in South America before dying penniless, aged 62.
Ah.
His idea was developed by others, and by 1845, a spider's web of 2,440 miles of railway were open, and 30 million passengers were being carried in Britain alone. With the launch in January 2004 of a new £2 coin by the Royal Mint, bearing both his name and his ingenious invention, a coin approved by Queen Elizabeth II, Trevithick at last received the public recognition he deserved. Perhaps because it was the birthplace, Britain can boast more railway attractions per square mile than any other country. The figures are impressive. More than 100 heritage railways and 60 steam museum centres are home to 700 operational engines, steamed up by an army of 23,000 enthusiastic volunteers, and offering everyone the chance to savour a bygone age by riding on a lovingly preserved train. The surroundings, stations, signal boxes and wagons are equally well preserved and much in demand by TV companies for filming period dramas. I think we need another scroll down now, Terry. Oh, a Great Western tank engine. Wales deserves a special mention for its great little trains. Though small in stature, these narrow gauge lines are real working railways, originally built to haul slate and other minerals out of the mountains, but now a wonderful way for visitors to admire the scenery, which is breathtaking. There are 8 lines to choose from, and one, the Festiniog Railway, is the oldest of its kind in the world. Then there are the railway museums that are historic in their own right. Steam at Swindon is built into the former workshops of the Great Western Railway, the GWR, which has near legendary status among rail fans. The GWR Railway Centre at Didcot recreates its golden age in an old steam depot where polished engines are tended lovingly. Part of Manchester's Museum of Science and Industry is situated in the world's oldest passenger station, and the Think Tank Museum in Birmingham contains the world's oldest active steam engine, designed by James Watt in 1778.
Where was that Think Tank Museum again, Alan?
Hang on. Birmingham. My apologies to all our viewers from the Midlands. But it is But it is northeast England that is known as the birthplace of railways. For here, around Newcastle, the world's first tramways were laid, and later the world's first public railway between Stockton and Darlington steamed into life. At Shildon in County Durham, a £10 million permanent railway village is taking shape to open in the autumn, the first outstation of the National Railway Museum. At nearby Beamish, the open-air museum of North Country life, where the past is brought magically to life, there is an opportunity to see one of the earliest railways recreated. Feel the wind and steam in your hair as you travel in open carriages behind a working replica of a pioneering engine such as Stephenson's Locomotion No. 1, built in 1825. If you can, go southwestwards to Cornwall, where the story of the great engineer Trevithick began. In his hometown of Camborne is a bronze statue of one of his. Not far away, the little thatched cottage where he lived at Ponds is open to the public. It is hard to imagine that the scribblings in this humble home were to lead to the high-pressure steam engine, and the world would never be quite the same again.
No, it wouldn't. There we go.
And can I add, we do have a really nice preserved steam railway up here in North Norfolk called the Poppy Line that runs from Sheringham to Holt.
Oh.
And it's connected to British Rail Main Line, so they can even cruise down into Norwich if they want to.
Same gauge. They've got the same gauge line.
Yeah, it's a standard gauge. North Norfolk is it's standard gauge. It's just the preserved line from. They managed to preserve it from beaching, cutting it up.
I was just reading out the peanut gallery if they were mentioning anything. I'll just grab the videos now. You can talk amongst yourselves if you've got anything. If you haven't, well... watch later. Okay, we need... I got all these ones ready, didn't I, Al?
Sorry?
I said we got all these ones ready before in Watch Later. There was the Richard I thought it was Richard Trevithick, but it must be pronounced Trevit Hicks, or...
No, I was probably pronouncing it incorrectly because
I knew a woman whose surname was Trevithick, and that was how she pronounced it.
Yeah, it's
Okay, well I'll grab...
Since my palsy, some odd words get really hard to pronounce. If they're a little bit unusual. Lips don't quite work the way they used to.
Got a little video. It's all common. It's all Creative Commons, so I'm safe. I hope. We've got all that. We're right.
It did run on the roads, not the rails.
Right, yeah, okay. Yeah. So it was first designed to go on the road, and to put it onto rails, well, that would have been the next step, I suppose. What a way to get around. It's even got a number plate, Owen.
Yeah, it had to, because it goes on the road.
Who's steering it?
Those two guys in the funny costume at the front.
That music in the background, I don't know if that'll get us. Fred said that was an illegal front number plate.
Yeah, well, it was. Oh yes, because it's the wrong colours. Because it should be black on white, not white on black.
Don't tell Tony he hasn't got a spanner out in the peanut gallery. There. I do have another one, but I thought I had one actually on the rails, the same engine. I'll just have a look.
Tell you what, I wouldn't have wanted to leave my car parked there while that thing come past.
Oh, done with that. I thought I had a... No, I think that video with that one, that actual engine, similar engine, was actually on rails. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, unless it's in Discord. Yeah, this one. Just check to see if it's I'll just check to see if that's Creative Commons or not. Now this one doesn't say it's Creative Commons, so I'm not sure. It's from Ironbridge Museums. Now that's why I'm not sure if I can play it or not. Only goes for 54 seconds, so it shouldn't be too bad, should it, if it's only going for 50 seconds? So it says it's Trevor Locomotive as well. It's running on rails this time. A big flywheel on it. There we go. Well, they had to start from somewhere. It has a cigarette lighter. Only one piston. Okay. out of there. Okay. Well, I've got a couple of other videos here to do with. Now we either got the Meccano steam engine, we've got the mill engine at the London Science Museum. What else have we got? Steam engine valve exploration. That's from the New England Wireless and Steam Museum. Call steam engine valve. I think we'll look at the Meccano steam engine one. I think that'll have to do. I think either that one or that's a steam engine. We don't. I wanted the steam train one, but I couldn't find one. I thought the. Okay, we'll look at the 1929 Meccano steam train. Somebody mentioned they had a steam train here. Meccano.
This poor old engine was in pretty bad condition when I bought it. I did manage to get it running on air with just a couple of minor repairs, but cosmetically it was pretty dire. Bits were missing, bits were rusty. But I've managed to get people to make reproduction parts for all the bits that were missing. I've derusted and repainted the rusty bits. And it does now actually work quite well. I spoke too soon. Burner seems to have sprung a leak. Oh well. Okay, well I've resoldered the joint in the tank that was leaking. It appears to be alright now. It'd have to be repainted of course, but not for the moment.
Any guess as to how much horsepower this is producing? I suppose when you hooked up a little generator to it, you could charge your telephone or your mobile phone with it or something.
Yeah. One of the main bits I had to have remade, I was missing, was the complete end top cap and chimney boiler. Got a friend to make that for me, or at least partly make it. I'll finish it off myself. And I artificially aged it. The safety valve also missing. That's a replacement, a replica made by another friend of mine. The burner, and it does seem to be holding okay. Burner is a replica of the Luton Bowman burner, which was almost the right size. I had to modify it slightly. So it would fit this engine, and it was probably my fault that it leaked. The base I've repainted. That was rather rusty, and the paint that was on it was, I don't think, was original anyway. The gear rail there, the big one, although it looks like Meccano, it's not actually Meccano, it's a special one. Meccano one doesn't fit. But that's another replica made by yet another friend. The only thing I can think of at the moment I haven't fixed is the overflow cock there, which is completely sealed solid, seized solid. Fortunately it's seized in the enclosed position. I intend to leave it as it is. It does sometimes self-start and I reverse it, not always. And you don't expect a single-cylinder, single-acting, oscillating cylinder engine to be self-starting. So there's no complaints there.
Oh, yeah, I was muted. A great little toy to play with when you were a kid.
Yeah. As I said, I had the Meccano traction engine when I was a kid. The The earlier one with the methylated spirits burner rather than the one that had the hexamine blocks that they brought in later.
Well, he had some sort of spirits for that one. Would it have been kerosene or?
No, that would have been methylated spirits, I would have
Methylated
thought.
spirits. And Clive wanted to know, he hashtagged Dartman, James May. Yes, James May did ride a motorbike, which was a three-wheel trike, basically. And he rode around with Oz Clark. The speed wasn't that great, but I'm not sure how far they made it, though. It had a few teething problems.
I thought that was a proper two-wheel motorbike that they did
No,
around the TT. That you did around the TT track.
It was two-wheeled, but it had a sidecar for that Oz bloke to sit in the sidecar with James May riding it.
So it was a combination then.
Yeah. They tried to use the batteries with the Meccano. They had so many motors for the Meccano one, but they ended up changing it, letting it run off something else that they had as a backup. They did a lap. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Brett. Okay. I remember watching part of it. I wasn't sure if they actually did a complete lap. Because they were on a time restraint. They had a time restraint of actually doing it, like in between practice or something.
I think it took them best part of 2 days, but they did a lap. But it is like 26, 27 miles or something. Was it 37 miles, the TT circuit? And there's quite a lot of climb and drop on it.
Yeah, it didn't like the hills too good.
No, well, that's the problem. It's the hills. They go over this. They go over this thing that's called a mountain. One that I'm sure we're all familiar with from looking at pictures of the blasted thing.
Yep.
Oh, Fred says it's 34 miles, I guess.
Okay. Right. Stream would have been stream topic. I'll put it somewhere. Here you go. I lose it. How do I put it in here? Oh, unless I put it in here. Where'd you go? Branery said, I missed the last show, so I don't know if you're still on Ironworks. Ah, no, we've jumped from Ironworks to the Steam, Branery. Oh, okay. If they are Creative Commons, I'll have to check that later. Okay, who else have we got?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I just read Irish's last one.
Yeah, Oz Clark blew into it and the alcohol in his breath lit the steam engine.
Oh.
Oh, there he is. Is that the right video? Oh, pause that. Check to see what one we're up to. Okay, that's part 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I don't want that. Don't want that, don't want that. I think we're up to... No, that one's... Yeah. I'll fast forward it. Somehow. This one. Does drag on a bit, so... Here we go. Here's your mate.
Oh no.
We'll put him up a bit. We'll try him at 1.5. Hopefully it'll be more funny. Can I get... Oh, the mystery name. Sorry, we forgot about that. Wait a minute.
Has anyone got it?
Mystery name. H something D. I think somebody was trying to guess it earlier on before we started. I think somebody was guessing that.
Is there a clue at all?
Yeah, the guy's picture.
He discovered quite a lot of things, quite a lot of elements using electricity. So let me. He discovered, for instance, potassium, sodium, strontium, barium, magnesium, calcium, and boron, all using. He isolated them all using electricity.
Oh, so he was a physicist.
And he discovered the elemental nature of chlorine and iodine.
And
Clive
entry,
given a guess.
yeah, and that is one I've seen around before.
And it is. That's who it is. Humphrey Davy, but without the E. Humphrey without the E. That's him. Sir Humphrey Davy.
Do we want to skip to another video that's not as long, Alan, do you think? This one goes a bit too long. Because there is another...
Well, if you're doing it at 1.5, if you're doing it at 1.5 speed, it shouldn't be too bad, should it?
Well, it just makes his derp quicker. Quick derp.
Welcome to my site if you haven't been here before. Pretty interesting. You might want to go back and check out some other videos. There's plenty of them. If you're a flat earth and you want to know the whole system, I've got it all on video. Woe to go. More than any other person. Because I'm the only one who understands the full model of the flat earth. All the other stuff is just child's play. Horizons. All that sort of stuff. Can't even think of them. I don't go.
You had to think about other stuff besides horizons.
Yeah, they're just childish stuff now. I go straight to the big picture. Where science has it, but to show you how it works on the flat earth, and it proves the flat earth model. So anyway, today I just thought I'd pick up on a few things about gravity. Flat earthers don't believe in gravity, but if they change the word to gravitate, it would make a little bit more sense if you understood the proper model. Because it's about gravity, it's about magnetic fields. And what I've discovered on my journey in the flat earth is this field comes up out of here, it comes up out of here, and passes back down to the earth, back down here to go that way. And this one comes down here and goes that way. That's the way the true magnetic field of Earth works. The science doesn't know that.
Told them not to cross the streams.
They know the magnetic field is strong up here.
Hang on.
Yeah, pause.
I thought the middle bit. How's he getting a thing there? That's at the equator, isn't it?
Yeah, that's at the equator.
According to him.
Yeah.
Because I thought the vortex thing was at the North Pole in the centre.
Yeah, it is. He changes it every time, Alan.
Well, I know that.
He changes it a little bit every time. He hasn't brought the yin and yang into it yet. You want to see the yin and yang.
No spoiler alert.
And they know it's weak down here. So they're not looking for a magnetic field coming down here because it's all weak here anyway. But they know the dip compass points up here and the dip compass points down here.
What compass?
Dip.
He's talking about the dip in the compass. There's no such thing as a dip compass.
Okay.
But if you use an ordinary compass, the needle will dip.
Yeah.
Because the magnetic field in certain places, especially other than the equator, isn't parallel to the surface of the Earth. It's actually at an angle, and so it'll either force the north end of the needle down or up a little bit. And that's the dip of the compass.
Aren't they made specifically for north and south compasses?
No.
No.
Well, they
No.
can. I think they can balance. They can balance them for north or south, but I don't. But I think that's probably something you'll find on expensive compasses. I don't think they bother on cheap ones, because certainly if I open the drawer here and pull out my cheap silver knockoff, yeah. So you look at it and it always looks like the north end of the needle is pointing ever so slightly downwards.
But you're not that far from the North Pole.
Well, I'm hang on, I'm 40. I'm 37.4 degrees from the North Pole.
So they should have picked up on something, realised something, but they don't realise, they don't know, do they? But I discovered it. Simple ring magnet. That's the way the fields work. They come up, down on the south side, underneath, go back over to the middle. Good on you all that before you got a magnet.
No,
because it works in with the system, the whole system. It's all left here by Christianity and the Egyptians, all spelled out. So this is the duality in our electromagnetic field. We have the magnetic fields come up as one, and the duality, the other part is this, because this is dry, cold, thin air, cold, dry, thin air, warm, wet, thick air.
The one thing he doesn't it gives us is an explanation to detect these magnetic field lines that he thinks goes through to the equator. Like, he just says it, but he never says a way that you can detect it. Like, he was saying something before about this compass thing, but that was about it.
He doesn't rely on any data or any citations or any experimental evidence at all. He just makes shit up, Terry.
Yeah.
And besides that, he keeps on referring to wet air as thick air.
Yeah.
Little does he know that as the humidity of the air increases, its density decreases.
Because it expands.
Well, no, water vapor is, if you consider a mole of gas, right, the water weighs less than a molecule of water has an atomic weight of 18, and a molecule of oxygen has an atomic weight of 32, for instance. So it's the relative molecular weight of the oxygen versus the water, I think. But then again, I've been wrong every.
No, Tony, I can give
every single time.
I couldn't tell you if you're wrong or right for that statement.
Yeah, the density of humid air is less than the density of dry air. The refractive index of humid air is also less than the refractive index of dry air.
So I still didn't confirm with you whether you were right or wrong, Tony. Sorry.
That is the duality. And
let's assume wrong.
Don't have low expectations. Think positive.
The magnetic fields gravitate to this, what I'm calling ether now. Thanks to Michaelson Morley and their experiment, and me thinking, so I like to think, I have come to realise how the Earth fades away, reduces. This is why they come up with the spinning ball theory, because it's the best way to depict the realm in a sphere. But we don't live on a sphere. We live on a flat Earth. But our energy realm reduces from the centre. It enlarges from the centre to the tropics and then reduces. You see it? This is the design. Energy leaves the centre from the sun. All the celestial bodies are in here. Comes out, hits the tropics and reduces down. So here you have it. So this energy here comes over to there. It gets absorbed and then reduces. The magnetic fields come up into it, get absorbed.
I don't even think we've got a measurement of how high this or where the sun is to the dome part or anything either. I don't even think he's ever mentioned any of that even. He's never given us any numbers or distances or anything.
I'm pretty certain this guy doesn't know what a number is.
Okay.
Reduce, come back out.
Sorry?
Yeah, there's just nothing in here that even approaches it, is even in the same ballpark as verifiable reality. There's no test, it's all just him saying, well, it all fits together.
It's
Yeah,
all
that's
just
great, mate.
irrational gibberish.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Paul's been having a very intellectual conversation with Lindsay of late that I heard.
Leave out the very intellectual.
I've got to wonder. I'm also curious as to why it is that the ancient Egyptians get a shout out. So obviously he's a Christian, but why do the ancient Egyptians and why does he think that ancient Egyptian theology is such a great match for Christian theology?
Oh, you'd have to watch Lindsay's previous videos to answer that question. But the god of Ra, there's certain words in all that. There's other things that he uses.
Sorry, just a second.
Perpetual cycle of our Earth. Look at the shape of that. It's nature. You've got seashells and stuff that look like that. You've got fruit that looks like that. You've got the two spheres of the human brain. You've got
fruits.
Our sun. Our Earth's sun is actually in there, but we see it projected out here. So, and that's our pineal gland between our two spheres. And then you can come out here, you have another duality. The other duality is the one, and there's the two. Where the magnetic field is passed down through here like this, like that. So you have two spheres of the brain, and we see the sun in this location. It's about waking up.
Wait a minute. How did the sun get over there? You didn't say when it moved. I thought it was over there in the central vortex thingo.
Saying they've known about this for 100 years but never let on. Magnetrons and microwaves come from the system, the vacuum inside the vortex. The electrons spinning in the vacuum, which are the moon and the planets around the sun. The induction system. Gravity, relativity, and warp space-time came because Einstein knew Earth was flat and he wanted to try to figure out how it all worked. So there we have warp space-time, warping back. It's relative to you in that area. It's totally different to being back there. That's why you can't have a 2D flat map. It'll never happen. They know that. It's the first thing the silly globers like to say to you. They know. They're the Freemasons. They'll know the plan. You don't. It's all a big secret. They don't want you to know. You're the little people. Down here. They want you down here. Stay down there. Don't start thinking whatever you do, for God's sake. So we have the electrical field and a magnetic field. So I've just shown you the magnetic field duality. The electric field duality is inside the centre of the vortex in the vacuum. And that's the proton, the sun, and the electron, the moon. That's electrical system in there. There's a duality. Duality on its own. And then you have a magnetic field here, or is this part of the electromagnetic field? But it's a magnetic field coming off the electrical field. And this field has energy flowing vertically, but on the inside of this, it's on the horizon, but on the inside of this vacuum, there's an energy going that way. There's a duality in the system. And in the electromagnetic field, we've got the duality, haven't we? The magnetic field's coming up, going down, or the two hemispheres, and the equator being the other part of it. There's a duality. Everything in life is a duality. Moon, the sun. Moon, the female. Sun, the father. Now, who's seen the pyramids in Egypt? Who's been there? Pretty awesome, eh? Well, this pyramid with a flat top, that's the one they were talking about. What's that one called? Khufu. That's one with the magic in the middle. Who's gone and sat in the sarcophagus and gone Om and thought the whole world was doing it with you? It's flipping amazing. And this one here, the one in the middle. I thought that was in the middle. But Kufri. And this one's meant to something or other. But who's been told that used to be up there once upon a time? Well, it's the speculation, like thinking you're living on a spinning ball. Fantasy. Could go as far as saying BS. This is fantasy, speculation. It never was. It's always been flat. How do I know that? Because all my videos are connecting religion, Egyptian, science, all to the flat earth, and spiritual awakening, because it's all connected. It's all the same thing. It's the meaning to life.
It's got nothing to
And
do
at a
with the
particular time
pyramid.
in the year,
Yeah.
it's the
Pause.
What?
equinox.
I've investigated the Egyptians, therefore the pyramid was flat.
The top of the pyramid. It never had a point on it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but he actually fried my brain about 5 minutes ago, and and yeah, I wasn't actually really able to understand anything he just said, because he was so far past not even wrong. He was
I recognise that pose.
he was fractally not even wrong.
You know what he's going to talk about now, don't you, Terry? Come on, tell me. What's he going to talk about
one
now?
hand's going to drop down and one hand's going to go up.
And the words he's going to use are? Come on.
I didn't know you were going to give me a quiz.
Yeah, you need to have a quiz on what you've learnt from Lindsay. He's going to talk about perihelion and aphelion, except he's not going to call it aphelion, he's going to call it aphelion.
Okay.
It's level. The elliptic is level. Before the two thieves on each side of Jesus start stealing him away. Perihelion, aphelion. And it does this over the year.
No, I told you.
Well, at that time, equinox, September. Only September. That's a special time, right through Christianity and the Egyptians. The moon moves furthest into the north. And look what's close to north, this pyramid. This pyramid here represents the moon. This one represents the sun. What goes around the sun? The sun is in the centre, the moon. What else goes around the sun? Venus. Why do I know that's the moon?
Yeah.
Well, I'll show you. There's plenty of reasons. I spent 2 days trying to write it down and put it on video so people can understand it, but it was never going to work. People would not understand it. But the simple one, you can understand if you really want to. This is our flat earth, and this is what the moon does. Over a monthly sidereal cycle. Well, it's both cycles actually, synodic.
Does anyone actually
sidereal.
physically see the moon do that?
And in the centre of the earth, here's the centre of the earth.
Synodic.
That must be centre of the earth here. What's that? It's the sun. The moon goes into the sun. It disappears in the sun for 2.2 days. 1, 2, and then comes out again. It starts its cycle. It comes out of the male chamber. It starts to glow. Ooh, what have you been doing in the air?
Wouldn't the moon get a bit warm if it goes into the sun and comes back out again?
Well, it's like a woman, isn't it? She comes out and starts glowing or forming the skin. I think that in one of the videos, forming the skin. Before it deforms the skin after the full moon, she hasn't given birth. But at this time of the year, close to north, she gives birth in the 5 divine days. Now, why is this the moon? Because look, that is the sun cycle around, does a full circle, the sun. You don't see it's in there, but like a clock, it goes right round. Right round. The moon cycle does not do a full cycle. Only a wise man will find that. But there's a lot of other things that add up.
No, Pip.
And
The
one of them
sun,
is...
the moon goes inside the sun.
This was the complicated one. I couldn't get to make sense, but I'll give it
Pay
a quick go
attention.
over. A sidereal month, what is it? 27.32, I think. Yeah. Sidereal month. That's because it's the 2.2 days taken off that got lost, and it goes quicker around it with the sun, because the sun's in the centre, so it moves quicker than the moon that's out here.
How did it get lost?
So it comes to there,
Yeah,
goes
where
straight
did they
to it,
get
and you
lost?
catch it again there.
Yeah. They got
So
lost on its way,
That's
did it?
that's their cycle there. They've deducted the 2 days. It's gone romancing with the sun. Now, how do I get this? I don't know. 360 degrees divided by that comes to 13.18. 13.18. You may think, well, how's that connected to anything? I'm thinking, what the hell? I don't know.
I got no idea. You tell us.
That, you know, we've got 360 degree circle on a flat earth. And then you go take this figure, 27, no, not that figure. You take the height of this pyramid, the moon pyramid, they say it's 456.03 feet. Well, I know it's not that. I know it's this.
That's what? What is it?
I'm going to make it the height I want it, so
Yeah.
it matches my made-up numbers.
Yeah.
Not much difference, is there? But science can put that in
And
their
why
box.
would it?
Because you take that measurement there,
And why would they have
times it by that measurement.
measured
That's the
it
height
in
of the pyramid
feet
from
back
there to
then
there,
anyway?
not from imaginary thing up here, from there to there.
Well, yeah, it wasn't measured in
That
feet.
times that equals a perfect 6. And I believe in those numbers of Tesla's 369. Everything in my whole journey uses those figures 369. And guess what else? When the moon comes into the sun, centre Earth, so the sun's just off centre, so it goes like this, sort of thing. Right through mythology. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 goes into there. Between these points is 3.69 days. This was one of my very first videos when I realised, after buying my second-hand telescope, tracking the moon, thinking how it all worked, and then I came across, I knew there's something in the in this golden ratio figure, and using Tesla's numbers, and that's taken me on this big journey, and I've discovered the whole flat Earth system. So yeah, so there's your 369 again in this moon cycle. It just all adds up. There's other things too. When you take the feet, it's 600 feet. I think it's 600 feet around the base of this pyramid. I haven't looked into these ones. They can put that in the maths science books, I reckon. Who's heard of this? Who's read this before? It's in Christianity. That has stumped religion for more than 2,000 years. But I know exactly what it means. But do I just blab it? Do I just blab it, or is it worth something? I'd like to think it's worth something. But I do understand the phrase in religion, or the part in Christianity where Jesus turns over the money tables. You're not to make money off any of this knowledge. But I think it's worth something, and I don't need to be made wealthy, but maybe I can pay a bill off. So I'm not letting that one slip. Someone wants to know about that, which this in itself explains the whole Bible. The answer to that, and all religions, because they're all based on the same thing anyway. That will blow the lid. Well, it won't blow the lid. It will expose religion to be the divine thing it is. And that's why it's been kept for us, with us, through the millennia. And it'll always be relevant. The Jesus story is told in an allegory way, but the basis of it, behind it all, is pure divinity. It's all consciousness, astrophysics. It's all celestial, conscious, energy. It's all there. Alchemy shows all this. Once you know this model, and if you can see through the lines in religion, this is all described. That blew me away when I came across that. It is for God to conceal a matter, but for kings to search out this matter. But the heart of kings will not be found. That's what they're referring to. And there's hundreds of other things that just put this picture together. I could write a book, but I can't write. I'm flipping hopeless. What else can I say? Yeah, go back and check out my other videos. I'm going to have to start focusing. We're trying to work out how to describe this system. I don't think even science can describe it. That's why they came up with the ball. Because, map-wise, it just works with the map. Because everything reduces down, back down. But you could draw it like this. That's what it is. But they won't do that, because you'll click on too quick and go, you can't live up here and live down here. You'll fall off. Duh. You'll think you live on this flipping thing. But let's see to north. It's so Earth. That would be the best way to draw it in reality. Well, it's not a ball in reality, but to describe the thing, how it all reduces down. If it doesn't reduce up here, well, it does actually, because it's going to the north, doesn't it? So, because everything does go back into the north. Does everything grow out from the centre of our Earth? Like a frequency fired into a bubble. It just grew out. Because it was the perfect frequency, life began in that bubble, in this sphere. So God knows what this perimeter is. It's just pure energy. It's probably just the pressure of this energy that keeps the sphere like that. It's not spinning or moving anywhere. It's just the pressure, fixed and stationary. Nothing about gravity. Gravitate. That's the thing. The pressure. So, we're pressured into staying down on the Earth, aren't we? So there's pressure. And this would be like, maybe it's like neutral. you got your, like in physics, you've got say a magnet bar. There's a neutral between the two fields. Electrons that way, electrons that way. There's a neutral spot. And here we have it weakens and goes down to the earth. That's the weakened side. Then you have the strong side. The strong, the weak. Well, the opposite in the magnetic fields. And then you have the neutral along here. But then you'd think gravity. Well, if you go deeper into water, you certainly get the pressure. But anyway, that's a bit beyond me. Yeah, let it do. Hope you enjoyed that. See you later.
He actually said goodbye tonight.
Oh, did he? Oh.
He said, "See you later."
Okay, yeah.
Well, at least he's getting better on something then.
He knows when to walk away when he stumps himself.
Yeah. Man.
Even at 23 minutes at 1.5 speed, it still seemed to have dragged on.
Yeah, well, I think that's still 15 minutes, isn't it? 1.5 speed. It's not as much of a difference as you think it's going to be.
Yeah, it's beyond me too, Brainery.
Indeed.
Sorry, I'm
That's
AFK.
the name of the song, wasn't it? No worries. I shall get myself organised for some derp.
Have you got some good dirt for us tonight?
Oh, I've had not much time lately, but it's interesting enough.
We are getting paid more than what I'm paying you. Alan, haven't seen you the Hulk today? Pip wants to know you're the Hulk, Alan. Do you want me to invite Chemo in? Where is he? We'll go and find. We'll go and find him.
No, I don't want to turn green. Don't get Chemo in. I don't want to turn green.
Are we ready?
Oh, is this going to be NFN then?
Dumb things said by patients. It should say by patients to their doctor, not to patients. Yeah. All right. Is my nipple too hairy? I reckon that's a pretty dumb thing to say to your doctor. Oh dear. Is there a pill so I can have a baby boy? No, there aren't any pills that make you have a baby boy. Patient says, my phone camera makes my face look wonky.
I would say she had Bell's palsy there, or a stroke.
Yeah, or a stroke.
Hopefully just the Bell's palsy.
Yeah. I went to the gym yesterday and now my arms are hurting. Really?
Farmer's boy, are you around, mate?
I can't figure out why, you know. I need the doctor's opinion on that one. Oh dear. Some people are silly. My son's shoes are rubbing him. I mean, why would you go to the doctor and then say, my son's got an issue? Surely you'd bring your son along. Dear. Doctor, my stomach makes this weird rumbling, gurgling noise whenever I haven't eaten. It's starting to affect my work. Seriously? Oh dear. My skin is too soft. Oh gee, if only we all had that problem, hey? Yeah. Hi, doctor. I booked this appointment 2 weeks ago, but the problem has gone away now. I didn't want to waste the appointment, so I thought it best to come anyway. Still is kind of a waste of an appointment because someone who really is ill could have been there.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I'm worried about a white lump in my baby's gum. And it turned out to be a tooth. Things you go to the doctor for, hey?
Stick your finger in there and you find out.
Doctor, when I drink certain types of beer, I vomit and have a headache the next morning.
Yeah, how many?
We'll drink the other type of beer then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Can't figure out why. I would like to undergo a fertility test, as I have not become pregnant for 2 years now. The husband had been away for 18 months. Gee. I've lost my spidey sense and need a test to find out why. I think the doctor would look at you kind of silly if you went to him and said, I've lost my spidey sense. I've had a runny nose for the last half hour. If everyone who had a runny nose for half an hour went to the doctor, there wouldn't be any room for any other patients, I don't think.
Well, you know, if your nose runs and your feet smell, you're built upside down.
Yeah. Please, can you remove this pubic hair from between my teeth?
Oh.
I think the doctor would have a bit of a laugh at that one. Your dentist knows what you've been eating. Can you settle a marital dispute? My wife thinks paracetamol is better, and I think ibuprofen is. Who's right? So what do you think? Which one do you think is better?
Paracetamol spelt properly either.
I prefer
yeah,
ibuprofen, but paracetamol works for some things better than ibuprofen does, and the other way around. Depends what the pain is.
Yeah, ibuprofen is probably a little bit safer than paracetamol because paracetamol does your liver in if you take too much.
Yeah, I have to be really careful because of my back condition. I actually take a daily maximum recommended dose of paracetamol. So I must make sure I never take anything else that might have paracetamol in it.
Yeah. Yep.
So no cold remedies for Alan.
Yeah. Yeah. My poo smells this morning and it doesn't normally, with said excrement wrapped in tin foil in a carrier bag.
Oh.
I mean, you wouldn't take a stool sample to the doctor unless he asked for it, would you?
No. Well, he kept it fresh in tinfoil.
Yeah. My wife isn't interested in having sex with me. Please, can I send it to you so you can give her something for that? And there is actually a medication you can give women to increase their sex drive. Yeah. Can you cut my son's toenails because he doesn't like doing it?
7-year-old.
She says about her 17-year-old son. Gee. Yeah. I must admit it is a pretty ordinary job, but...
She's probably got to clean the room before she can do that too.
Yeah. My 9-year-old daughter cries and cries because we can't get a dog. Please write a letter saying she's depressed so we can get her one. Oh dear. Can you write a letter to get me a new flat? Mine's really dirty. Easier to get a new one than just clean it up, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I have a sick note for 6 months because I'm nearly at retirement age?
Only got 6 months to go.
Yeah, he's probably got 6 months of sickies stored up anyway. Yeah. Please, can you help me write my CV? I mean, would you go to your doctor and ask them to help you write your resume? I don't think so. Yeah. Please, can you fill out my driving license application as I'm not sure how to do it? Not really a doctor's job.
No.
I like this one. This one's a good one. I've just been on holiday with my mistress. I got back and work wants to know where I've been. I'd like a sick note to cover me. I'm allergic to avocados. If I eat 8 of them, I'm sick. I'd probably be sick if I ate 8 of them too. My cat scratches my furniture and it upsets me because I love him. They can be little bastards though, with furniture.
Indeed.
Yeah. Do you have something to make my nails stronger and hair shinier before my holiday tomorrow? I need some advice as I want to break up with my boyfriend and I don't know what to say. What normal 15-year-old boy doesn't have porn on their computer? I've looked and looked, but he really doesn't have any. That's not normal.
He's probably hidden it really well.
Yeah, he's probably hidden it really hard. I get indigestion when it's cloudy and my child has ear discharge when there is a full moon. Your doctor's going to look at you pretty silly if you say that.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Oh, God.
Doctor, I cannot fart without making a noise. That's pretty normal, I think. Now, these are a couple that the other side has said about their patients. I'm a veterinary technician. I once had to explain to a frantic client that the ticks she had frantically been trying to remove from her male dog's belly with tweezers were actually his nipples. I also told her she had an extremely well-behaved patient dog. You imagine someone trying to pull your nipples off with a set of tweezers? Ouch. Oh, dear. Had a lady measure her baby's temperature by preheating the oven and putting one hand in front of it while the other hand was on the baby's forehead. She told the nurse her baby's fever was about 250 degrees.
I hope that was Fahrenheit.
Even then, that's a bit high. You'd be dead by the time you got to that temperature.
Oh, yeah, no, but I mean, you know, having the
almost...
baby near an open oven that's at 250 degrees Celsius would be even worse, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, her baby about to spontaneously combust. Oh, dear. Yeah. I was doing my rounds and saw a patient out of bed and walking around the floor following a knee replacement. She had a cane in her hand that she was carrying like a soldier carrying a rifle. I asked what she was doing, and she thought what she thought she was the cane was for. She replied she thought the cane was for pushing people out of the way since she's now handicapped, and it wasn't to help her walk on her post-op knee.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but your walking stick is kind of handy for that kind of crap.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, kind of you can use it as a weapon. Yeah. Working in a rural OBGYN clinic, I had told a patient to try vitamin B6 to help with the nausea and morning sickness. She called back a few weeks later and told me that Walmart didn't have any vitamin B6, so she bought vitamin B12 and had just been cutting it in half.
Oh.
Yeah, just cut him in half.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, I guess half B12 is B6.
Yeah.
I once had a patient complain about her vaginal jelly prescription. She claimed it didn't work and wanted a different prescription. She explained she used it every day but hated the taste.
Oh.
The prescription read, apply as directed every day. She had been applying it to toast and eating it for several days.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dear. And that's all I've got for you today.
Thank
I'm
you,
sorry,
Paul.
but there you go. Just a quick one today.
Yeah.
Paul, they were all definitely NFN.
Yeah.
What?
You know what that is?
What's NFN?
Normal for Norfolk.
Yeah. Okay. Oh dear.
Sorry about the interruption there.
That's all right.
Had to feel the. But yes, doctors get the very best ones. Have you ever heard this? Ever heard the story of the there was a legal case where the doctor was being cross-examined, and they said, well, did you measure the patient's respiration? And the doctor said, no, I did not. And the lawyer goes, did you take his pulse? No, I did not. Then by what metric did you ascertain that the patient was dead? Well, his brain was in a pan by the side of the bed. And the lawyer said, well, does that mean he was dead? And to which the doctor is alleged to have responded, well, he could have been practicing law, I guess, but
yeah. Oh dear.
Anyway.
We didn't get those questions sorted out, did we, Paul? Today, if not, we'll.
No, I'll work up some answers and some calculations and stuff for next stream.
Oh, calculations.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, Tony likes math.
I'm sure we all don't mind maths. It's just some of us are better at it than others. And I'm definitely in the others category.
Did I hear somebody mention Spurs while I was on the phone?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
We don't want.
I'm sorry.
We don't want to invite him in here because look at my name now, Tony, and yeah, I don't want to be green again.
Right. Okay. Well, fair enough.
But if you insist, Tony, we can invite Chemo in here and we can see what happens.
Well, he is currently promulgating his debunk of gravity. So, and I have not yet had the pleasure of seeing his new theory.
What he's changed from heat causes pressure. What's that, a pressure?
No, not heat causes pressure. Not because heat doesn't cause pressure. His argument is that there's no such thing as pressure variation. It's only heat. No, he's got a new theory. He's disproved gravity is his claim.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh dear.
It doesn't really matter though, because it doesn't really matter what Chemo says.
No,
he still makes me green.
Okay. Well, out of deference I would be more than happy to hear what this man has to say, but out of deference for Alan, let's avoid him going green.
I mean,
we won't like him when he's green. So just putting out that out there.
No, that is correct.
I'm going to invite Lindsay to come on the stream.
Well, feel free to do that. Oh dear.
That would be an interesting conversation.
Yes, it would.
Can I share the quote of the week? I don't know if does that work in here? Oh no, I haven't set up that.
Yeah, well, we can see it here. Can they see it out there?
No, I haven't set up a scene for. I thought I had a scene for Discord. No, I haven't. I do. It's there. Oh, there it is. That's the one. I found it. That's the quote from Ranty's last stream, was it, Paul? Do you remember that somebody was talking about it? I know Blue's was looking into it. And the quote from Brian Leakey, I think it is. I think his name is. His sentence was. This is quoting it off the transcript from the actual the timestamps to there. So I think it all went in one sentence. To the equator. Wait a minute. I thought the circumference of the Earth was 24,500 miles an hour.
Sadly, no.
The heck of circumference being miles an hour?
I'm just quoting his quote, what he quoted. So.
Oh dear.
I thought you would like that quote.
They're absolutely precious, aren't they? Like, just absolutely no concept of how wrong can you be. Like Nathan Oakley's argument about why there's a pressure gradient in the atmosphere because there aren't any trees at 35,000 feet.
Okay.
Oh dear.
I never thought about that.
Sorry, Tony, what was that? What was that?
His argument was the trees make gas and there are no trees at 35,000 feet. So therefore there's less gas at 35,000 feet. The logic speaks for itself.
Yeah, but trees use gas as well, don't they?
Yes, that's the first level in which he's wrong, which is the trees don't actually make gas. They take in 6 moles of carbon dioxide, they release 6 moles of oxygen, and you're left with the same amount of gas in terms of molecular count. So no, trees don't make gas. If anything, they use up the carbon. But aside from that, it doesn't matter where the gas enters the atmosphere or leaves the atmosphere, because that doesn't change the weight of the atmosphere. And this seems to be something that they have difficulty accepting, is that the atmosphere has weight. If it didn't have weight, then balloons full of air wouldn't fall in a vacuum. But they do.
Yeah, and it's quite odd, isn't it, how they're quite willing to accept that a pressure gradient in a pool of water, like a dam or a swimming pool, is caused by the weight of the water above you. All right, they're quite happy to, and they'll accept that, no problems. But then switch that to the atmosphere, and all of a sudden, gas doesn't have weight, and all sorts of nonsense starts to come out.
Liquids and gases are both types of fluid, and are governed by fluid dynamics, and the pressure gradient in the atmosphere is a result of hydrostatic ordering of the atmosphere. So it's that simple.
Yeah, anyone who claims that gas doesn't have weight hasn't carried enough gas cylinders around.
Yeah, damn things get, for some reason, damn things get heavy when you put stuff in
When
them.
you fill them, yeah.
I mean, even air cylinders get flipping heavy when you put 207 bar in them.
Yeah, you
Or
can.
even
You
worse,
can
or even worse, 300 bar. In fact, yeah, you check that they're correctly full by weighing the damn things, don't you?
Yes, exactly. You weigh
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They weigh more when they've got gas in them than when they don't. You see how that works?
Yeah.
I remember taking the butane cylinder for the gas heater into, and they'd weigh it when you bring it in, and they'd weigh it when you take it out.
Yeah. John Rapp says the only reason we have pressure gradient is that trees are at ground level. Lemon bird, I think. Well, Nathan Oakley was spouting exactly the same line of argument relatively recently. Much I have to say, I really feel, somewhat sorry for Spurs Chemo. That he goes out and he makes these arguments about there being no pressure gradient, and then at the first sign of somebody coming on and asking Nathan Oakley just throws him under the bus. Yeah, of course there are.
Yeah,
why would
I know.
Micro Raptor is in favour of inviting Spurs on. Just saying.
Never,
did you hear?
ever, fucking ever feel sorry for Spurs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yes. And how are you? It's wonderful to hear your dulcet tones.
I'm quite well this morning, I believe.
Okay.
How are you, Tony?
I'm well, thank you.
And the rest of the panel too. Everyone sound this morning?
Oh, we're good, I think.
Very good.
Yes, we're well.
So, have you had the privilege of seeing Spurs' demonstration that there is no such thing as gravity?
No, I have not. Does he have any thingy up?
Well, Mr. Sensible did a video about it. I don't follow Spurs channel or any other Flat Earthers channel. I only see stuff because it's on in other people's feed. But Mr. Sensible has done a thing about Spurs, and apparently there's a citation in it.
Well, I can't. Spurs has said so many silly ass things. Nothing that comes out of him would surprise me one way or the other.
I'm pretty sure he tried to catfish me not too long ago too. I received a mysterious work email that invited me to unload on Spurs. And I can only think that it was a flat earther trying to get me to abuse my work email.
Yeah, that would have to be.
Yeah. So, yeah, Mr. Sensible's latest video is called Spurs Chemo Debunks Gravity with Citation. So, there you are. But, yeah.
Yeah, good morning.
John Rapp says
in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, and good morning to Dora.
Hey, Dora.
John Rapp says that you should tell Lindsay that we are fascinated by his arguments. They really are amazing. He seemed to expand on the ancient Egyptian stuff while I was away. How did that go?
Usual.
A pyramid
Derp.
with the top of it knocked off is not true. It was built that way.
Okay.
It was done on purpose.
All right, and this has to do with the shape of the Earth because
Lindsay thinks so.
Okay, all right. Well,
change?
that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
That's how the majority of modern science is conducted.
Yeah.
Lindsay tells us all the stuff we don't know.
Yeah, you just got to cite
and then
it
we write it
yourself.
up so it's...
Yeah. You just got to cite it yourself and say it in a stern but positive voice, and that comes out to be true. Okay.
What amazes me about Lindsay, actually, because there are a few flat earthers I think are mentally unstable. But Lindsay is very even-tempered, right? He doesn't become angry or resentful. Like CC is all over the map. Like he'll be raving 1 minute and then he'll be calm the next, and then he'll be raving again 20 seconds later. It's like watching an emotional roller coaster in action, and you just go, man, you really need some professional intervention there, mate. But Lindsay he's dead calm all the way through. It just doesn't. He's not angry at anybody. He's not unhappy that there's this global conspiracy that's out to conceal the truth. He just seems even-tempered about it. Doesn't really mind. It doesn't upset him that much. It's a really weird effect. Does anybody else get that vibe off him? That he's not really that upset by everything?
No. He's pretty casual about it all. Yeah.
I know it just interests me, but perhaps I'm weird that way. Well, I'm definitely weird, but that's just another way I achieve it.
Well, my weird exists on so many different levels. It's almost impossible to keep track of.
Yeah. Well, normal is a really poorly defined concept. And who wants to be normal?
Yeah, true.
No Name says that he is here, just working and lurking.
Yeah, he runs a factory.
He runs a factory. Okay.
Well, I think
that's
he
a
runs
decent
a factory.
excuse.
Got my annual flu shot yesterday.
Did you?
Lucky you.
And
I had a flu shot last year, and I caught the flu 5 times.
That's a different type of flu.
Yes. Clearly, I was not thrilled by the entire concept.
I don't know if it does everybody this way, but every time I get one of these things, I feel like shit for about a day.
Yeah, it is.
I don't feel very well right now. It's like,
okay,
almost like they gave me. Yeah, it's like they gave me the damn flu.
Yeah. Microrapper points out. Well, that's how vaccines work. You've been injected with a little bit of bad stuff. They're kind of homeopathic. Microraptor says that the real conspiracy is that I and Daniel Pratt are the same person.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
that answers a lot of questions.
It does answer a lot of questions. I am not necessarily going to blame Dora for this. She hasn't brought up my similarity to Daniel Pratt for ages and ages, but it has outlived her to some extent. Apparently the first time she saw me, which was debating Spurs, she thought I was Daniel Pratt. She thought they had Daniel Pratt on the stream. Until she turned the sound up and noticed that I sounded different. And she's not the only one to note the uncanny similarity. I have to admit it.
Well, it's accentuated when you stick on the Elmer Fudd hat. You know,
Elmer Fudd hat.
when I dress in a hoodie. The interesting thing is that all the hoodies I own are from Flat Earth debunking channels. So I've got one Simon Dan hoodie and 2 Conspiracy Cats hoodies. So when you see me with a hoodie on, it's from a debunking channel.
Okay.
I don't think I've got anything else.
what good dirt did you find today?
Oh, we
Tim?
only had Lindsay play earlier.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But other than that,
Do you want a quiz?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only just going through Shill Your Shit to see if anyone's had any debates or anything that I could play. Anything? There was anyone? I don't know if anyone was on Jose's.
You're very kind, Dora. But given the number of times I've been wrong this stream alone, I'm having second thoughts about making any claims to even intellectual adequacy. Paul has made me look like an absolute fool with his questions.
No, not at all. I've made you think. That's what I've done.
Yes, and think wrong every single time.
You need a whiteboard, Tony?
I might need a whiteboard. I might need a whiteboard, and
as long as you don't start waving your arms and muttering words like perihelion and aperihelion.
He just babbles. That's the thing. I think it's better off without. I think you're better off listening to it without the whiteboard, because you spend so much time thinking, what is he waving at? What's he pointing at there? What's he saying? It's when you can't see his hand movements, you just realize this man is babbling incoherently. It's just nonsensical gibberish from beginning to end.
That it is. So, do you want a bit of a quiz, Terry, or?
Yeah, I'm up for anything. Well, not anything.
Okay, it's a pretty easy one that I've got for you today. So, you should know most of the answers.
That means I get to go first.
We have to answer in the
in the Zoom chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in the Zoom chat we have to answer. Yeah.
Not in the outside side chat, because that would be really embarrassing if I kept doing that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's self-reference for yourself, Alan.
Quiz on natural science. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my thing maximised. Goodness me, what have I done? How does that work?
We're patient. We're patient.
Yeah, I've somehow managed to minimise my Zoom thing, and I can't figure out how to get it big again. Whatever.
What did you do?
I'm not sure what's going on there.
What, your full window?
Well, because I've shared the screen, it's made my Zoom thing small. So someone else is going to have to monitor who gets it right in the internal chat or not. Okay. All right, let's get going then. Okay.
The problems people have when they've got more than one monitor, I tell you.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, just an answer to Microraptor's question. Maybe we should just call it in and out then, instead of up and down.
Yeah.
You know you can pop the chat out onto a different monitor, Paul.
I know, I have. I've got the stream chat popped out onto a different monitor, but the internal chat, I can't do that at the moment for some reason. So I'll have to sort that one out later.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, question 1. Who is honoured as the father of modern chemistry? This is an easy question.
Is it? Because I can think of at least 2 answers.
Let me see if I can figure out how to get this thing, the internal chat up. That will have done something.
That's got the Discord.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, I know, because the things changed. I'm trying to figure out how to get the Zoom meeting back up to normal size, and it's not working.
You'd have to stop sharing for that, and then you can get. Then you can.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I can do that.
And then you can thingy out the.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Chat with
Yeah. Okay. Yep, that's worked. Now it's back up to normal size, and then I'll get the chat out. Can you pop the Zoom chat out? Can you?
Yeah, if you click on the chat.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I've got it out now. Yep, I do have that out. So now I'll go back to sharing the screen. I'll go back to sharing the screen. And then I'll get the thing back up. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll put the internal chat back over there, maximized. And I've got the chat on there. And we should be all right now. All right. So question 1 was, who is the father of modern chemistry? No. None of those answers are correct yet.
I just copied off David Banner.
No.
Which answer do you want us to take, Tony?
Well,
okay.
I figure if...
there is one correct answer in the internal chat.
Okay, one correct answer. That's not fair. I can't answer twice.
Two now.
There's 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only because somebody answered 3 times.
Look.
If he can do it, I can do it.
I'll give the peanuts to him. His first name was Antoine. Not Isaac Newton, no.
Got a few different answers out there.
It was a French guy.
Antoine. Definitely not Antoine Newton.
Definitely not Anton.
Antoine.
Yeah, not Anton Petrov either. Yeah.
No.
But that's a good guess.
Well, they don't seem to be getting it out there.
Who is chemistry's mom? That's a very good.
Yeah. It was Antoine Lavoisier. Lavoisier.
Lavoisier.
Are you giving that to Tony?
That's right.
That to Tony, even though he said Mendeleev?
Even though he come up with a few different answers.
Yeah. No, what are you going to do?
You guys can sort out. You guys can sort out who got what. Just give yourself a point for each one you get right, okay? Regardless of who got it first.
I don't care if I don't get a point. You don't want to give me a point, Terry? You're fine.
Okay.
So I'm
Question
not the quiz master here. You have to do the quiz master's the one that rules it.
You should know the answer to this one now. Question 2. Who invented the periodic table? And it wasn't Lavoisier.
Oh, well.
Poirot Tabley.
No. A chef? No. Antoine Oxygen? Jesus the Carpenter?
Well, Pip got
Dmitry
it.
Mendeleev. Pip has got it correct. It was indeed Dmitry Mendeleev. Third question. Which is the most abundant gas in the Earth's atmosphere? Now, this is an easy one, folks.
Can I say Tony got it right in the internal?
Yes, he did. And Dora Nu has it correct out in the thing. Nitrogen is correct.
Oh, I didn't even get to
Nitrogen.
bloody type it.
Yep.
I think that Blue got the point there.
No,
Which top? Yeah.
How do you
Which
misspell a fucking letter? That's
yeah, I know.
I was going to type the whole word.
Which toxic element was once present in automobile exhausts?
Oh, sorry. Element. Okay.
Mm.
Oh, I thought Mendeleev was genetics. And
yeah, it's confusing.
No, I've got. I
there
thought
was two of them, was there?
Tony, I thought we'd have a rule in the internal chat: the first 3 people to get it right.
Could be. Yeah. I mean,
that means I miss out.
It's your channel. You get to. I am a guest here, whose only role is to screw up the answers to questions. So, if you want to take away my being right, that's fine. I don't mind, honestly.
Panel members' opinion and whatever, it does go into consideration.
Okay.
So, yes, we have correct answers out there galore. The correct answer is, of course, lead.
Unless, Tony, unless you go against Rule D.
Question 5. Which gas is released from paddy fields and marshes?
Released.
Yes, we have 3 correct answers in the internal chat.
Gas.
And yes, Dora is first correct there again. Methane, it is. Which 2 gases are mostly responsible for causing acid rain?
I can hear someone typing. Pip says she's lagging. Yeah. I finally noticed the problem in OBS with the sound, Alan. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
I only noticed it just a minute ago when I was just checking something.
Okay, most people have got one of the gases.
Yeah? One of them?
Yeah.
Which one? Glenn's putting numbers in. That doesn't help. H2, that's hydrogen.
One of the gases is produced a lot in car exhausts because there is a large percentage of its precursor in the atmosphere. That might give you a hint. So I think we know that sulfur dioxide is one of those gases. The other one, I'll give you a hint. It's a brown colour.
It's
I didn't think gases had a colour.
And gases have colours.
it's one of those, isn't it?
It is one of those, yes.
Because there's many of them, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yes, you are correct.
See?
So in the internal chat, we do have some correct answers now. And the correct answers is that it is sulfur dioxide and the nitrogen oxides. Carbon dioxide does cause acid rain, but those two are particularly responsible for them.
Okay.
Question 7. Which metalloid is used in the manufacture of microchips? We have some correct answers in the internal chat.
I didn't think they were metallic or whatever in the word metal.
It's not metallic.
They're
It's a
metalloids.
metalloid.
There are only
Yeah.
a few. There are only a few metalloids.
Wow.
Very few.
And they've got nothing to do with being metal.
And we
There's
have,
also
and we have Pip Parrot correct in the external, in the Peanuts chat, along with no name. It's silicon. Yeah.
Gallium is also used.
Gallium and Dora points out that gallium and arsenic are both metalloids as well. Yeah, there is such a thing in a medical sense as metalloid poisoning, actually, as well as alkaloid poisoning, I think.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. So here, speaking of poisoning, what is the toxicity caused by silicon called?
I'm going to guess, but I don't know.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, I spelt it wrong. Is it still wrong? Even if I changed the first letter? Probably am.
I know what you mean, Terry. And we have some correct answers out in the Peanuts. It is silicosis.
Yeah, that's what I wrote, but I wrote the wrong letter.
Yeah, you're right. Dilicosis.
Yeah, I know the S and the D were too close together.
Question 9. What does the acronym PVC stand for? Yes, we have some correct answers internally.
Yeah, what he said.
Price Waterhouse-Coopers.
I wasn't sure of the last
And
letter.
we have the correct answers. Correct answers out there in the Peanuts too. Yeah. Polyvinyl chloride.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the last bit.
It's a vinyl chloride polymer.
Okay.
Yeah. What polymer is used in the manufacture of modern day televisions? Particularly the casings. This is an odd one because people don't often think of this as looking like this. They think of it, they mostly experience it in another form.
I'm going to say I have no idea. So
most people experience it as protective packaging when you receive goods. But there is another form of it, a higher density form. Correct answers, Tony.
well, without the hint, I would never have gotten it. I had no idea.
Yeah. What's styrofoam made from, Brainery? Polystyrene is correct. Yep, polystyrene, high density polystyrene, which is why they burn so well. What polymer was mainly used in early forms of electrical switches and insulators?
Oh, I know that one. I'll have to get I'll have to type it out quick enough though.
Blue beat you.
Oh, Blue! You're too fast at typing.
I was unaware that even was a polymer. So that
it is. It certainly is a polymer. Yeah.
And who has examples of that laying around that they use daily?
I do not.
Besides
I must admit, but I wish I did.
It's a polymer of formaldehyde, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bakelite. Yeah, it's a thermosetting polymer. So once you've formed it, you can't melt it. It chars rather than melts.
Yeah. And I've got a few of those examples of that material laying around that I use daily.
Yeah. Yep, Bakelite.
What, you mean in your old car?
No, not in the old car, out in the garage. It's I've got a couple of light fitting adapters that were made a long time ago. They're actually Bakelite, and they plug into your light fitting, and you can plug 2 light bulbs into them. And an ashtray.
Nice.
I've got an old ashtray that's made of Bakelite.
Yeah. A lot of the cabinets of old radios and stuff like that were made from Bakelite.
An really old telephone, if you had one that old.
Yep. That's right.
Light switches that you used to have on the side of your architraves, they were Bakelite.
Yep.
That's tough as nails.
It is, yeah. What name is given to plastics that cannot be recycled? I'm just dying for someone to write non-recyclable plastics, but that's not the answer.
The question does invite it as an answer, though.
There you go.
I actually gave you the answer a couple of sentences ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
Because Bakelite is one of those kinds of plastics. You can't recycle it.
What? Remote setting.
And David Banner is correct.
Nice.
Yeah, they are thermosetting plastics, right? Because in the recycling of other plastics, you simply melt them down and reform them. But thermosetting plastics, once they've set, that's it. That's the shape they have. And you can't melt them again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There are things called memory plastics.
This one's a dead giveaway. It's an easy one, this one. Which element is liquid at room temperatures? Come on, you all know this.
Oh.
Yeah. And Brainery has it right in the peanuts. It is indeed mercury, or Hg.
Oh, I was going to say water.
The water is not an element.
Water's not an element, Terry.
Well,
not anymore, anyway.
No.
That's two elements, Terry.
Yeah. What is the chemical name for baking soda?
Typed it and forgot to hit the enter button.
Yes, we have some correct answers. Sodium bicarbonate is, in fact, the correct answer. Another sodium one. What about sodium carbonate? Not bicarbonate this time, just sodium carbonate. It's commonly used in the home for what purpose?
Oh, what's it used for? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, lots of people make natrium carbonate in their home, don't they, Brainery? And we have a correct answer out in the chat. Piperit. Got it correct. For washing soda, it's known as. It's for softening water. As a water softener. Soda, it's called washing soda or soda ash. I think here in Australia, they sell it in bags called electric soda. All right, here's one for the brave. How many allotropes of carbon can you name? I'm warning you, there are a lot of them. So even if you get a few, you're doing well.
That's not one. Buckyballs.
Brainery says he can name 15. Okay, off you go, Brainery.
Yeah, off you go.
Fred says 45 then. Just don't ask.
Sir said none. I answered correctly. Give me my point. There you go. It's,
Demonov said sleepy, sneezy. Wrong one.
Yeah, we've got some correct answers here. Okay, we've got diamond in the internal chat. We've got graphene, buckyballs or Buckminster fullerene. But here's some others for you.
Is graphite and graphene different?
What's that?
Yes, they are. Graphene and graphite are different.
Graphene and graphite are quite different, yes.
all right, okay.
I thought Tony was being funny with buckyballs.
No, not at all. They are an allotrope of carbon. Yep. So diamond, graphite, graphene, amorphous carbon, Buckminster fullerene, glassy carbon, carbon nanotubes, Lonsdaleite, cyclocarbons, carbon nanofoam, and there are even more than that. There are quite a number of more esoteric ones that I didn't even put in there. So it's one of the most allotrope forming elements that we know of. Question 17. What toxic chemical is commonly used to leach gold from ore?
Oh, I know that.
Oh, I know that one too. I think it's...
That's not the one I'm thinking of, Tony.
Oh, what?
Is it the one I was thinking of?
Note that I've used the word chemical in there.
Yes, the one I named is a chemical.
Hey, Alan, you spelled
Yeah, I guess it is a chemical.
As is the one I named.
Alan, you and I spelled it the same way. Is that right?
I'm probably not, but it's. I thought as long as you could work out what it was supposed to mean,
Yeah.
it was okay in these quizzes.
And no, that's not the one that's most commonly used either.
Oh,
Did you say most commonly used in the question? Because I heard
did.
commonly used. Okay.
Commonly used.
No,
Yeah.
no, look at the commonly used. Okay,
Yep.
it doesn't say most commonly.
Mercury.
Mercury.
Okay, I've got another one
but
then.
I can tell everybody
Is
that
it-
it's a.
Is it that one then?
It is, Terry.
I knew it was
well
one
done.
or the other.
Correct. Yep. And Pie Parrot. Is that correct, Pie Parrot?
Yeah, Pace, I'm watching
Cyanide.
these mine videos where they do gold
Cyanide
and that.
is. Yep.
So you got to watch more of those videos I would like watch.
Yep. Mercury is used, well, it used to be used to purify the gold because they would make an amalgam out of the gold and mercury, and then they would literally boil off the mercury, leaving the gold behind. But to leach the small amounts of gold out of, like, if you want to leach, say, 6 grams of gold out of a ton of ore, they crush it up fine and they leach it with cyanide solution.
There you go.
They do also use arsenic for something in gold mines, don't they? Use that a lot because I'm pretty sure it's also a horrible, nasty waste product that ends up in the
tailings dam.
In the tailings, along with the mercury and the cyanide.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
Along with the cyanide, at least.
There's really no nice way to do it. Yeah. What is ornithophilie?
A hard word to pronounce.
Has to be one of those, right?
It's got something. It's got something to do with those creatures, yes, but it's neither of those two things. It's neither of those three things.
Neither of those three things. Okay.
No.
Well, that's it. Three's your limit, Tony. Sorry.
No, and no Irish. It's not the study of birdship.
Come on, have one more go, Tony.
I'll give you a big hint. It's got something to do with the same thing that bees have got something to do with.
Yeah, I think Pie Parrot might have it in the chat.
Okay.
She does indeed have it correct. It is pollination by birds.
Oh, I was just typing that, but anyway, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. Question 19. How many incisor teeth does a rabbit have?
Yeah, that's what I would have went for.
Probably wrong. I wrote it down. It's wrong.
No,
Everything
not
I
that
wrote
one.
down.
The other one.
Brainery, 50. I think you're having bad nightmare dreams about rabbits, Brainery. And Peter Harrington has it correct in the peanuts. It is 4 incisor teeth for rabbits, as opposed to other rodents that have 2.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of fire-related deaths are due to smoke inhalation rather than burns? Any close number will do. So Irish stew is the closest so far. Skirting around the edges, but no cigars. So we'll give you the answer. It is, in fact, 80%. So more people die from smoke inhalation than do from actual burns.
Mm-hmm.
Because it displaces the oxygen in their lungs and they suffocate.
They usually do that before they get burnt.
Exactly. That's right. Yep. To what familiar fruit is the plantain similar? Tony's on the ball today. Yes. He's making up for his earlier getting things wrong by getting some things right now. And we've got some correct answers out in the chat too.
Yeah,
it
that
is
was
the banana.
Lord Cavendish, grandson of the other Lord Cavendish, was the one responsible for getting us the shape of our current banana.
Yep.
And it was actually done on Jose's last night because somebody mentioned Banana Man.
Okay.
What's his face? Is he Australian or New Zealander? The young earth creationist that's known as Banana Man.
I don't know. I've never heard of him.
It's
Banana Man was a cartoon series starring Graham Garden.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about there's a young earth creationist who went on about how great God made the banana to fit our hands and make it easier to eat.
He's a New Zealander.
Oh, he's a New Zealander, okay.
He's the one who debated conspiracy cats recently.
Comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Comfort, yeah. Which American president was recognized as an authority on American game animals? Of course, Big Blue would know this one.
Yeah, Blue answered it before you even read it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got that.
And Pie Parrot has it correct. It is Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt. Question 23. Which drug was used by the Army and Navy for 3 years before becoming available to the general public? Yeah, you all know this one, of course, don't you? That is correct. Not speed, not Viagra. Penicillin is the correct answer, yes. Okay, next one. The scarab worshipped by the Egyptians is what type of beetle? What kind of beetle is it?
Didn't they believe that it rolled the sun across the sky?
Yeah, exactly. That's right, Tony. That's why it's called that. Yep. And Flo Rider has it correct out in the peanuts. It is the dung beetle. Yes. What invention?
I answered it.
What? Yeah, I know you did. I'm not going to read that one out though, Terry.
Okay.
What invention in 1450 AD revolutionized communication? There's an easy one. You should all know this. Terry's taught you this.
Blue.
Yeah. That's a rather pejorative judgment on the poor old dung beetle there.
Mobile phones.
I thought it was the 3210 flow rider.
Smoke signals. And it was right. Flow Rider has it right again. It is the printing press. Books were around well before the printing press, but you had to handwrite.
That's true. Yeah.
You had to handwrite them, and so they weren't really a good communication tool back then. It was only in the advent of the printing press that books became mass-produced, so to speak.
Yeah, Gutenberg done the first Bible.
Yeah. What mammal lays eggs?
Oh, there are two. Actually, there are three. But they are all classes of that.
Okay. Terry, what have you written?
Oh, didn't I spell it right? Yeah, what Tony said. I just didn't spell it rightly. I was trying to type it quick so I could get the first three.
David's got it right. And we've got correct answers out in the chat too. It's the platypus, or the potapus, as as Terry calls it.
Hang on. Why on what basis do you claim that the echidna doesn't lay eggs?
Oh no, I'm sure you're correct there too. But the commonly known one is the platypus. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'll concede that you're right there, Tony.
The general class is monotremes.
Yep, you are correct. Question 27. From how many flowers must a bee collect nectar from to make 1 pound of honeycomb?
A pound.
Yeah.
Really?
How many do you think? Even if you get the order of magnitude right, I'll be impressed.
No, I'm getting technical here because I read the question.
Ten to the 17. That's a big number. Yeah, Flo, I would have expected him to use, metric units, the SI system, but apparently that's too much to ask for.
It is, isn't it?
Okay.
From all of the answers I've seen so far,
it's a trick question.
It's not a trick question. Flow Rider seems to have the closest answer so far. And you're correct, it is in the millions. Dartman hasn't even... No, he has not quite. I didn't see the 1 point in front of his 5. The answer is, in fact, 20 million.
Wow.
That's a lot of flowers, isn't it?
That is.
Yeah.
Can I object?
You can object. Raise your objection.
You said honeycomb, not honey.
Yeah, that's right.
The honeycomb houses the honey. The honeycomb structure.
Yes.
Is made from a different material.
Yeah, I suppose, but you could class the honeycomb as containing the honey. Yeah. Okay. Question 28. What is the name of the largest North American terrestrial rodent?
As in a non-terrestrial rodent?
No, terrestrial rodent.
They do have arboreal rodents too, don't they?
Hmm. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
I knew that'd come up.
Is that a rodent, Tony?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to bet, your life on it, but I'm fairly certain.
I think we've nearly wiped. I think we've actually wiped out the the largest South American rodent, which also got loose over here.
No, you haven't. The largest South American rodent is the largest rodent on the face of the planet, and I believe that it's the capybara.
The capybara. I'm pretty sure we've wiped out our breeding population of capybara over here finally.
You may have done, but it hasn't been wiped out in South America.
No.
Okay.
I did say our population of.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant our in the sense of humanity.
I meant our as in Britain because actually they were all pretty much local to where I live.
I have a point of trivia for you. The capybara, according to the Catholic Church, was classified as a fish, and it was thus okay to eat them during Lent. This was the result of a petition settled with the Pope, lodged with the Pope, that said, well, they taste really nice and we like eating them and they spend most of their time in the water. Can you call them fish for us? And the Pope said, yeah, sure.
Oh, no.
Why not?
Wow. The answer is, in fact, the porcupine.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Beavers. All right. Porcupine's bigger than beavers, or do beavers just not count as rodents?
Maybe.
Have I led Terry astray? Have I been wrong again?
Porcupine are pretty.
We'll look it up if you like.
Yeah, they're semi-aquatic rodents. Yeah.
I was counting on you then, Tony.
Oh, they're semi-aquatic. Maybe semi-aquatic doesn't count as terrestrial.
Yeah. What is the Paleolithic era otherwise known as?
Oh, I need to be in the right chat for this. And David got there first. Yeah.
He did.
More
a long time ago.
A long time
and
ago.
we have surfed right with the Stone Age. And David and Anthony in the internal. It was indeed the Stone Age.
And I got the third one in.
Yeah.
The Flintstones.
Pip is actually technically more accurate because it does mean the old Stone Age.
Yep.
There is the Mesolithic and the Neolithic as well, which are both Stone Ages.
Aren't I technically correct too?
Stone Age.
Yes, you are. You are. Of course, you are, Terry. You are always correct.
Yeah. No. Actually, my school years were Neolithic. It was Blues. It was Paleolithic. Sorry, Blue.
Them's fighting words. What nocturnal animal makes up 1/4 of all mammal species?
So, can you clarify what you actually mean there? So, what broad category of nocturnal animal? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. What nocturnal animal? Yeah, that's right. There are many different species of these nocturnal animals.
I don't. 1/4, really? No, I'll go with that.
I just want to know if I'm going to be right or not.
Big Blue may be right. I would have thought that they're.
Yeah, we have Glenn Collins and Flo Rider and Terry. First in with bats.
Wow.
Correct.
Blue copied off me. Blue copied off me, Tony.
A quarter.
Yep.
Wow.
That's
Had no idea.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
What is the chemical prussic acid, otherwise known as?
Is it pronounced Prusic or Prussic?
Prussic.
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 You have some correct answers in the internal.
I got no idea.
Russian acid. Germanium. No.
Oh, as in Prussian, like Prussia, yeah.
Hi, Patrick's got it correct. It is hydrogen cyanide or just cyanide. Cyanide or hydrogen cyanide. Yep.
Somebody keeps skipping my answers. Fred
What is
said
the rest mass of a photon?
What is the rest mass of a photon?
Well, let me be more precise.
Yeah, that is pretty precise. Yes, Fred Knotts, you are correct. It is 0. Zip, nada, none. They are massless. That's why they travel at the speed of light. Question 33. What is an alloy of copper and zinc known as? There's 40 questions, by the way, so we're getting there. We're almost done.
Copper and zinc.
No.
Copper and zinc. Is that
Copper and zinc.
Is that what? Is this what it is?
Pie Parrot has it correct, and David and Big Blue
okay.
and Tony. It is brass.
No. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Well, I wasn't the only one to think that the other one.
Yeah. Which element is never found free in nature despite making up about 2.5% of the Earth's crust?
Free
in nature.
Yeah.
Okay.
Free as in its elemental form by itself, not costing no money to find.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
It's obviously going to be a fairly reactive element. Hence the reason why it's never found free. Can't be oxygen because we find free oxygen in the atmosphere.
No. Okay.
I'll give you a hint. Its symbol, its chemical symbol, is not the first letter of the element's name. That should give you enough hint as to know what it is. Finally, Tony.
I was going to cheat off Tony, but I didn't know which one to pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Trouble is that there's an awful lot of elements that applies to. It's the one. It's working out which one's 2.5%.
It's the one that's 2.5%. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It is, in fact, potassium. Okay. Very reactive.
Okay.
What poisonous alkaloid is extracted from tobacco leaves and widely used as an insecticide? Poop. No, Pie Parrot, it's not poop. Pie Parrot is correct. It is nicotine. So Tony and David.
Oh,
and
okay.
not Terry.
Ah.
Pyrethrum is extracted from the pyrethrum daisy.
Okay.
Nicotine is the correct answer. Which prefix is often used with scientific terms to indicate that something is the same, equal, or constant?
So you have a scientific term and there's a prefix you put in front of it. Okay. Like a greater sign or a negative sign or a equals or...
Yeah, that's a good point, Dora. I didn't know that you guys still use Kalium for the name for potassium. So, yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I knew that the old name was that, but I didn't know that it was still in use in some languages. Dora is correct. And Tony, it is iso.
Okay.
Isothermal, isotope. Question 37. What is the branch of medical science which is concerned with the study of disease as it affects a community of people? What's that called? Politics. No. It's an ology. You're right. It's somethingology, yeah.
Well done, Dora.
Epidemiology is correct. You are right. Epidemiology is correct. So we had Tony and David.
Hope you're keeping scores,
Question
Tony.
38.
No, I'm wrong. Always.
What is the property of a metal that means that it can be drawn into wires easily?
Oh.
Tony is correct. So is Big Blue.
Yeah, I should know that.
You shouldn't you, Terry? Because you see them everywhere.
Yeah, I know. I always see one.
Yeah.
And I even spelt it the right way.
Yeah.
Not malleability, Dora. Malleability means it can be hammered into a shape. No name, he's got it right. Ductile.
Yeah.
Ductility.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Go.
Second last question. Name the general type of mammal that gives birth to undeveloped young that are kept in pouches.
Oh, did I make it?
Yes, we've got some correct answers in the internal. Yeah.
Did I make it? I just made it.
You did.
Dora gets it right.
And yes, Dora gets it right again. It's marsupials.
I know, I've got to type it quick.
And the last.
I've got to type it quick because these blokes in here are speed typers.
Yeah. Last question. In a musical instrument that produces a fundamental note, what would be the wavelength of the second harmonic B relative to the fundamental?
What?
So the fundamental note in this type of musical instrument has a certain wavelength. What would the wavelength of the second harmonic be relative to that?
You'd have to know what wave.
Wait, a half, 2/3, pardon me, 5/3, three
Yeah.
times, half, 1.5. I have no idea. Music isn't a
Brainery.
science. Screw you guys.
Brainery. Yeah, brainery is correct. It is half the wavelength. So in twice the frequency, half the wavelength. All right. So that is because the fundamental is known as the first harmonic in that. That's the confusing bit.
Yeah.
And that's it. There you go.
Wow.
That's the...
Well, we all got some right.
Yeah.
We all got some right. I got except for me, I got everything wrong.
No, you got some right.
No, you got quite a few right. You redeemed yourself nicely.
No,
you did well,
you're very
Tony.
kind.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
That's everybody. It is squeaky me. I apologize to the chat. My squeaky chair is right next to the microphone.
Maybe I can't hear it. I don't know why. So I won't complain if I can't hear it.
Okay. Pip wins. Yes.
Sean said I scored an 11. Oh, no, I scored a 1. Oh, 1. Well, you did get here late, Sean. The ones I knew were easy, Dave said.
Yeah, there was a lot of easy ones in there.
There were a lot of easy ones in there. I actually thought that was a very well balanced quiz.
Yes, it was.
Extremely good balance of subjects and very accessible. So well done, Paul.
I can determine that the balance of quiz was good in the way of if I was able to at least answer a couple of them, that's going good.
Maybe I should use WD-40. Flo says.
No,
Pip says it sounds like I'm on a
don't use WD. Use silicon spray.
I was going to say don't use WD-40 as a long-term lubricant because it's not a good long-term lubricant.
That's not.
Okay.
In fact, the best thing, in my opinion, the best thing for a squeaky chair like that would be 3-in-1 oil. You know, a nice, good light lubricating oil.
Okay.
Or silicon spray.
There's a suggestion for me to use Vegemite.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm guessing Vegemite is better used as a lubricant than a foodstuff because Marmite is the boss.
Oh, don't start us on the Vegemite Marmite war.
Yeah, I started that.
You heretic. Pip Parrot says, do not use WD-40 as a lube, people. Okay. I am going to concede to Pip's vastly superior experience as far as that is concerned. It sounds like hard-won experience, and I'm not going to diminish it in any sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Earlier today, I was involved in a rather more detailed discussion of Team Skeptic scrotum than I think anybody should ever be exposed to. I'm still somewhat traumatized, so forgive me.
Team Skeptic what?
Scrotum.
Oh my goodness.
He was under the impression that having 3 scrotums was unusual. Which kind of begged the question: you think 3's an unusual number for scrotums to have? I would have thought that it was Perhaps having two scrotums was a little unusual, but it turned out that raising that point veered the conversation in directions that were better left untouched. But yeah.
Well, I don't have any more for you guys, and we've been going for about the right amount of time.
That'd raise all sorts of questions, wouldn't it, Tony? Because, like, as you're performing the act, it'd be kind of like playing spoons on your thigh.
Yeah, there are all sorts of ways it can go wrong when you're.
Yeah.
Float Rider has a really good question there. Is it scrotums or scroti?
We're nowhere near using that. Sure, would it be? I think it would be scrota, would it not? If it's the plural of stadium is stadia, so would it not be scrota? If it's pluralized.
I don't speak Latin, so I couldn't help you there.
Right. Okay. Oh. Pip says that she's Googling now. Okay. Well, that's there's only one way to find this out. Yeah.
Okay, we'll finish off now. If there's any other questions, you can always come over to Discord after and ask the questions that can't be answered, or answer questions that haven't got give answers that haven't got questions.
Scrotums.
So
okay.
So we have
there you are.
we had a Mr. David Banner. He's not green at the moment, thankfully. I don't know what happened to Sheepy. I haven't heard him snoring lately, so he must be around. We had a Humphrey Davy without the E. We had PhD Tony. And we had a Big Blue. And Miro, No Name, Dora, Flowrider, Professor Pineapple, Pip, John Rapp. Peter was out there. Peter did say he was going to be lurking. Fred. Oh dear. Flowrider.
We had a Professor Phil earlier on.
Yeah, Professor Phil was there earlier. Dora, John Stock.
So was Bacon God.
Miro. Dave N. Zebulon. I'm going to miss a few people. Grimfondle. Your name's going to... Oh, Glenn Collins. If I scroll up any further... Yeah, the Elmigs, yeah. Brainery.
Oh, Pip says to go watch her new story because it's not doing so good today.
Oh. Has she got a new story? I didn't check that. Oh, no. Oh, it's none. Pip says no story. Oh, she's sad. Okay. What, there is or there isn't? How am I supposed to know what's going on?
She has put a link to her to the video she's put up.
Oh, it's always on a Wednesday. I've got it here. It's in Show You Shit, because that's where it always comes up. The one you talked about, elastic bands and safety pins, Pip? Because that was the second last one to be shilled. And go and check Alan's Yarmouth Marketplace trip with chair cam.
Dave, I noticed the space comma. I just decided that...
there we go. We'll play Pip's last... Whoop. Sorry. We'll play that. It only goes for a couple of minutes and then we'll be off. I'll leave Zoom going, Al, so I can show you what I found. So we won't go straight over to Discord when we finish. But anyone that's over in Discord can help us out, because we probably need some guinea pigs to have a look and see what's going on. So whoever wants to stay in Zoom can. Whoever is over on Discord can listen in. Alright, okay, I've got that.
Oh look, thank God it's flat showing up too.
Oh, you're right at the end. That'd be right. Oh, well, I'll say goodbye to your peanuts now, and we'll play Pip, and then we'll be out after that. So I'll see you on Friday for our late afternoon, in between after show, pre-show, whatever you call it. Now I may do a Tony video. His last, it'll be it's called part 2, I hope, because I'm following the parts. One was atmospheric pressure, and then this one's, I don't know what this one's called.
This one's atmospheric pressure gradients.
Gradients, okie dokie.
Yep. And where they come from and why air gets colder as you move up in the atmosphere.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Which is an interesting question because hot air rises, right? We all know hot air rises.
Yeah.
So why does air get colder as you get higher?
Oh.
It's all mysterious.
Interesting questions. Okay, we'll play Pip and then we're out of here, Peanut. So see you later. See you, panel.
See you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. We can't see it, sorry.
Ah.
Elastic bands and safety pins. Elastic bands and safety pins and other useful stuff. I cannot live without them. I never have enough. Keep some in your handbag. You should always be prepared. Then, if there's an emergency, you need not feel too scared. Needle, thread and plasters. We need them to survive. They're all required from time to time, should garments take a dive. Bear Grylls doesn't teach us this, but all we ladies know, without a band or safety pin, we could be a blushing glow. Have you ever been out shopping and felt that telltale ping? You have? Well then, you also know it's a very stressful thing. Your knickers are in peril. They could be on public view, and that's not really the kind of thing that we've been raised to do. Your dignity's at risk here, should your undies take a tumble, and a first aid kit is what you need, in case you trip or stumble. We ladies surely do not want our knickers round our ankles, with never a safety pin to hand, because that's what really rankles. So come on, girls, and check that bag to see if you are armed. Then when you're blithely going out, your journey will be charmed. You will not feel embarrassed or in an anxious state, if you have got what's needed before you close the gate. The end. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and press the wee bell notification. And a huge big thank you to all my subscribers and patrons. See you next week. Bye bye.